Hello, everyone. Welcome. Bill Hammond here with KC Elder Law, and I'm here with Andrea Levitt of AgeWise. Andrea, welcome.
Thank you, Bill. Nice to be with you today.
Yeah, you bet. So you and I have known each other for a long time. You're a licensed master social worker. You're a case manager. You've been helping people a long time, Andrea. When do people need a master social worker?
Well, Dane and I built our business as professional advocates back in 2011. And usually it is when people contact us when they're stuck, when they are navigating the choppy waters of aging, and they have reached a point that they just don't know what to do, and they need some sort of a professional to come in and to help them put together a plan, to lay out some options, help with decision making, and help them find resources that will move them forward.
Sure. So what's the process? How do you guys work? What do you do when someone calls?
Well, we, on an initial inquiry, would get an idea about what their needs are, and then we would set up an assessment to get a good idea, to do a thorough evaluation of what the needs, the interests, the resources, the functionality, what the goals are. We would do a thorough assessment and then put together a plan for next steps. And sometimes families just want a consultation. They want a one-time conversation where they get an idea about what they can do next. And sometimes families just want us to carry out the plan and to be an advocate for their loved one. And so it really is a broad spectrum of what we're able to do just based on what their interests and needs are.
Sure. So, Andrea, when someone calls, who is your client? In other words, if we have let's say a daughter called in situation with mom, who's your client in those cases?
Well, the client is always the older adult. That is our number one priority. And then from there, most of the time we get the opportunity to meet the older adult. Not always. Sometimes it's we just deal with family members, as I mentioned earlier, on a consultation basis. But clients are the older adult. And then we work as part of a team on behalf of that person. So it could include family members, it could include professionals, legal, financial, medical, spiritual, any sort of professionals. We work together with them and making sure that the best things happen for our clients.
Sure. And obviously that's a great big job. I know from personal experience, we have some challenging situations and we call you in and you might be dealing with I don't know, families where, the loved one, mom or dad, is here, the kids are out of town. Sometimes you've got family dynamics, everyone doesn't agree. These are stressful times. And it takes a real professional, I think, to sort that all out.
You are absolutely right. And all of us will have an opportunity to deal with these challenges at some point, I would imagine. And conflict rises in every family at some point. And it's certainly our goal to help them with decision making and resolve conflicts. And sometimes people have such conflict that we are the advocate for the older adult and they will only communicate with us. Just we act as a mediator in those circumstances. And we can also have formal mediation meetings as well to facilitate decision making. But that's one of our goals, is to be a liaison to the family, to help ease the stress and for all involved.
Yeah. So, and I know this is situations where you see all kinds of things. These are difficult times. From your experience, what kinds of things are your clients worried about? What keeps them up at night? What are they afraid of? What are they trying to accomplish?
What people, I would say that's an excellent question, Bill. What people really want to accomplish is a high quality of life, and as best they can in with the limitations and restrictions that they're under. And so finding the best way to do that with the resources that they have, making sure that they get good health care, making sure that they maintain independence for as long as they can, make sure that they're involved in decision making as best as they can. Those are all things that certainly are priorities for our clients, and safety too. That drives a lot of decisions.
And I'm sure you sometimes feel like you're a referee getting involved, get in the middle of it sometimes, unfortunately.
It can be tricky. It can be tricky because the priorities aren't always the same between the family members and the older adult. But yes, it's a good thing.
Now, 2020, I think we would all agree, has been a year like no other. Okay. So normally you and I would be sitting in the same room having these conversations. Instead, we've all figured out, at least to some extent, how Zoom works. How do you navigate that minefield? You know, how do you do it when I would think a lot of the cues that you would notice when you're together with someone probably aren't always readily, observable or available on a Zoom or whatnot. How do you find your way through that?
That is difficult, Bill. And that is all the nuances of being able to see someone in person are taken away from us when we are removed, not able to go into facilities and see them, or having to, as you say, just talk on the phone. A lot of folks can't even do or don't want to do a Zoom video. And that is difficult. And so we do our best to have window visits. We also stay in regular contact with the staff. And if we can get a caregiver in there to actually provide more personal, direct one-on-one care and give us feedback that way. So we do the best that we can to be creative and stay in touch with those folks who are able to be around the loved one, and make sure that we understand if anything has changed in their habits or appearance or cognition.
Let's pretend for a moment, Andrea, that it was the good old days and we were at a cocktail party and we were just standing around, and someone came up to you and said, what do you do? And you tell them like you've told us here. Who would be the perfect or ideal client for you to work with? Who should be contacting you?
Well, oftentimes it's adult children of the older adults. They call and they say, I have got a concern. I visited mom and things have changed and I need some help figuring out what to do. Or maybe they got a diagnosis. And so now they're wondering, oh dear, what do we do now? So it's the older adult. A lot of times it's professionals. So these families are in contact with their financial or their legal professional or their medical team, and they say, you need help. And so it could be that a professional refers them. Sometimes we get referrals for people who have no one. And so professionals will refer somebody who has no one because they need somebody to be a decision maker for them, for healthcare, or act as a DPOA or a guardian or a conservator. And so it could be a legal or financial expert from that perspective too.
Sure. And nowadays, we hear so much in the news about so many people have dementia. Can you talk a little bit about that and what dementia is and how that complicates things when you have to get involved?
Well, dementia is a broad term that defines a neurological disease. And within that diagnosis of dementia, there could be any number of specific diagnoses. And so what happens is the person's cognition and decision making, their behavior, many of their routines are not what they once were. They're not able to problem solve. They're not able to make decisions like they once were. And so it then becomes super important that they have someone that they can trust and someone who can help them by making their life a little bit more simpler, a little bit more manageable, and make decisions on their behalf, important decisions on their behalf as they lose capacity to do so.
Yeah, thank you. You know, if we had someone watching this and they were trying to figure out, you know, do I need a master social worker? If you could, you know, reach out and talk directly to the folks on here who are wondering that, what would you say to them?
I would say that, you know, we don't know what we don't know. And so this is a field of expertise that our team is very well in depth about. And if they feel like they've reached a point where they just don't know what to do, or they wonder if there is more they could be doing on behalf of their loved one, then this is an opportune time for them to just make a phone call and inquire. And if we're not the match for them, we certainly can connect them with other resources in the community that could be of help to them.
So Andrea, how would someone reach you?
Well, you could contact us by our direct phone number, which is 913-213-8799. It's 913-213-8799, or our website is agewisekc.com, and that'll get you connected to us.
That'll start the process.
That's
Very
right.
good. Well, I sure appreciate your time today. And as always, if anyone needs help with their legal concerns, you know where to reach us at Casey Elder Law Firm, offices in Kansas and Missouri. Phone number 913-338-5713. Again, call us for a free consultation or visit us online at www.caseyelderlaw.com. Andrea, thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Bill. It's nice to speak with you. Take care.